Hello, and welcome back to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy. And guys, today is going to be such a great day. I'm so excited to introduce to you a new friend of mine who I admire so much. She's a phenomenal dentist and brilliant mind. And the contribution she has made to innovation in business and dentistry is going to blow your mind. But mostly, I think my admiration for her comes from this place of her courage to take action and go after her dreams in a truly male dominated area within the dental world. She speaks with such clarity and intelligence and wisdom. You're going to love her. Before I welcome her on, I just want to give you a little background of who Dr. Aditi Agarwal is. She's been in the industry for over 20 years and beautifully navigated clinical dentistry and her passion for innovation in business and really brought them together in such an incredible way. She works closely with, get this, her husband and business partner. Oh my gosh, we got lots to talk about there, who she met in dental school. And together they navigate this beautiful world of dental practice ownership, business management, and continue to lead this incredible business company around practice by numbers. And I know many of you are using this in your practices. And if you're not yet, please listen to this episode because it is a game changer. This all in one platform that she's going to tell us about that's designed to help you as the owner measure, understand, optimize the business side of your practice so that we can do the things we need to do, which is getting back to treating our patients. And she is just incredible. I just can't wait for you to meet her. She's going to tell us all about this and how she does it all and navigates being a mom to a 17 and a 12-year-old. Please join me in welcoming this phenomenal woman, Dr. Aditi Agarwal. Hello.
Hello, Taryn. Well, thank you so much for that introduction. I mean, that was just so awesome and so humbling. And, you are a fantastic human being in all the things that you have achieved and how much you're trying to help dentists like me find their happiness. So, thank you so much for all you do. And thank you for having me on this podcast.
We're just having a little love fest here for everybody. If anyone's watching, I mean, Aditi, I didn't make anything up. That is all you, my friend. You are really inspirational. And I'd love to get into a little bit about how you do all the things, because what I know about the women who are listening to this episode, they have big dreams. They have big passions. They're working in dentistry, and there's this part of them that's always had this dream or this idea or this vision for something beyond their clinical practice scope.
Mhm.
How, first of all, do you do it all today? Let's start with that question. Let's start with right now on this day in 2024. How do you navigate it all? Business practice ownership, clinical practice, running this beautiful second business, which is not a small thing, it's a beautifully big business, and being mom to your two kids. How do you do it all?
I think, Taryn, you might have heard the word family business, right?
Yeah.
And I would say that long time, very long ago, I started to lean on, initially my husband
Mm.
when I had problems in my first business, which was my first dental office, right?
Mhm.
Then slowly, as we grew from one dental business to another dental office, I still have two dental practices. And, to practice by numbers, I started to lean on extended family.
Mm.
And it is really important, and sometimes it's hard to do it all on your own. It takes a village. I actually leaned on my own patients to help take care of my kids
Yeah.
when they were younger. So, and it really is a community effort. I think it was asking them for help, and most people will say yes. My husband and I initially had no family when our kids were young in this country. And so I had to lean on people surrounding me, my neighbors, even my patients, my kids and my patients' kids went to, the same school. So they would go to the same soccer practices. So, I would lean on my soccer moms to help me out. So it really, truly, I didn't do it by myself. I really had help with all these amazing women who understood me being a mom and helped me pursue my passions so that
Mm.
I could not, I did not fail in being a mom. So
Oh.
I really want to thank all those women
Mm.
all these years while I was building my businesses for stepping up and stepping in to my shoes and saying, no worries, doc, we got you.
It's such an incredible thing to be a woman in a community of such support. And I think it's difficult to ask for help sometimes. It's extremely difficult to ask for help, especially when you're that woman in the community helping other women, right? Which so many of us in dentistry are because we're so capable. And especially somebody who's, you know, financially stable and intelligent and good at problem solving and seems to be making it all work, we end up being the one person who's helping everyone else. And I'm just so in awe of you in asking for help. That really is a superpower. And then not just asking for it, but actually receiving it. Because we all know that old history of asking for help and then saying, oh, no, 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 never mind, I'll do it. Or just jumping in and doing it ourselves anyway.
Now, sometimes you have to let go. And that's the one thing that I learned slowly. It's been a hard journey. You and I both know dentistry is hard. Owning a business is harder. And then owning three is like an impossible task. And I realized early on that, in fact, it was my father in law who said, get rid of the busy work, have somebody else do it for you so that you can concentrate on building an amazing business that you are capable of doing. But your hands, you only have two hands.
Mm.
So figure out what you want to hold with those hands at that time.
Yeah, such good advice, such brilliant advice. And men are very good at that. That's something we can learn from them at asking for help in terms of having other people do that busy work for them. And, one of the things that I've noticed, and tell me if I'm mistaken in this, is not only have you found a way to ask for support from people outside of you and receive that support and let go of that busy work, but then you leaned into automation and asking for the help and the support digitally from programming and software. So I'd love for you to talk about that journey just in terms of start us back at the beginning when you identified the need
Yeah,
and then how that led to this incredible innovation.
absolutely. So, Taryn, I started my first startup practice in 2010, right after the market tanked.
Oh,
And it was,
I was right there with you. I was right there with you. I had my practice. Also, 2008 was when I signed that loan. And
oh my
man,
God, I
I wish
said,
I knew
started
you back
loan in
then.
2009.
Oh,
Opened the
oh, we could have been such good support for one another.
I
Oh,
know.
okay. Keep telling, keep talking.
And it was a real
Yeah.
show, right?
Yeah.
And it really shook my confidence. I now not only had a startup and no idea where to start,
Mm.
and that's a bad problem to have. And my husband, I would come home and I'd tell my husband, I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. And he was like, well, you should know your numbers. I'm like, I don't understand what you mean by that. Like, what do you mean know my numbers? What numbers? And he was like, only if you measure something, you'll be able to diagnose the problem and then you can, possibly fix it. He's like, it's like the numbers are going to be like your x-ray. And he broke it down and talked to me so simply. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, right? And I was like, this is awesome. Where do I find these numbers? And that's when, I would look for resources. Back then, 2009, 10, there were not that many available for somebody starting up a business. Then I started to look at my PMS. And, Taryn, that was hard. I couldn't figure out what I was looking for in our PMS, right?
And for those of you who are listening who maybe like me in 2010 didn't even know what a PMS is, you're referring to practice management software. Yes. And yes, we think that when we purchase this practice management software for tens of thousands of dollars and pay hundreds of dollars a month for support, that we should be able to just go in and get all the numbers that we need and all the answers to everything we have questions about.
Yep. And it was right, it was honestly my treatment acceptance was crappy
Mm.
and I couldn't figure out why. And I would take the blame and put the blame 100% on myself as all dentists do,
We all
right?
do.
We all
Mm.
do it. I did it. And I would sit with it and not be able to focus on anything else, right? I would come home to my son, who was 2.5 years old then, and I would be not able to pay any attention to him and still be sitting and wondering, what did I do wrong? Well, I don't understand. Why am these patients not, are they not understanding what I'm saying? And, I'd already been practicing for a couple years. I mean, more than a couple, actually, 7 years. So I knew that my communication, was not that bad. I didn't understand. It wasn't until I looked at the numbers that I could figure out where my problem was. It ended up being not having enough financing options, really. And there I was for more than 6 months beating myself up because I thought it was me.
And
Maybe
it was something so simple as just not having enough financing options for your patients.
right.
Yeah.
It
Mm.
was so simple. And I just could not figure that out. And it wasn't till, I started looking through the reports in the practice management system that I couldn't find anything, that
Mm.
I asked my husband to help, who then created a spreadsheet. And dude, I could not understand what the heck was
Yeah.
going on in that spreadsheet. I
Mm.
was like, we're visual people. Dentists are generally visual people. And I was like, I don't understand this. Can you simplify it? And that's when he created a dashboard. That's when I really saw. And that's
Mm.
when I was like, it took an engineer to show me my missing piece. And when he built that, I said, wow, this is powerful. We need to be able to share this with the greater community. And that's when I said, okay. He was like, well, do you really want me to build something around this? I said, yes, I do, because this is important.
Yeah.
There's nothing else out there. So we got
Mm.
to do this. And that's how Practice by Numbers came about, really.
Wow, that's so cool. And I just want to go back for a second because what you mentioned at the beginning of your journey of when you didn't know what it was and you kept blaming yourself and self shaming, because I think so many of us experience that. I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. And
Mhm.
then those same fears, I'm sure, came up when you looked at that spreadsheet initially. Oh my gosh, I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not smart enough to figure this out.
No, no. I felt like the biggest idiot on the
Mm.
planet, really. When I looked, I was like, I should be able to understand this, right?
Mm.
And it took me about 10 days to actually, after seeing that spreadsheet, to actually go and ask my husband for help.
Right there.
Because,
Yes. Tell me more. Tell me more. Why did it take you so long?
because I was like, I'm smart enough. I have a freaking doctorate. Sorry. And
No, you're good. Yes.
I was like, how can I not understand this? How can I not figure this out? And then I was having a conversation with my dad, and he told me, he said, honey, everybody has different strengths, and you have different strengths. Your husband has different strengths, and you have to lean into yours. I mean, lean into his when you can. That's why you are in a partnership. A marriage
Mm.
is like a partnership. Don't be afraid to ask the questions and you're not supposed to have all the answers.
Wow.
So he was like, ask him the question. And I was like, well, he's going to think I'm dumb. He was like, so what? You think he's dumb when he asks some of the questions and he can't pronounce acetaminophen, right?
Yes. Oh, I love it. First of all, I want to hire your dad as a life coach, number 1. He sounds wise beyond his years. He needs to write a book. But this is a really great point, is sometimes that self-shaming and self-judgment holds us back from asking for what we need, and how easy it became the minute you asked and he was able to create that dashboard for you, and then suddenly the clarity was just there.
Yeah,
Yeah, so cool. So
it
cool.
is. It is. So lean in, really. I think it's all about, honestly, just leaning in, Taryn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, all my life, I have just leaned in and asked for help. And I used to think that taking the road that I am the best, I know it, I should know this,
Right.
right? It's not always the answer.
All right, I'm interrupting this episode just for a moment to tell you about a free upcoming workshop created especially for you if you experience end of the year overwhelm in dentistry and in life. I'm talking to you if you find yourself overbooked, overworked, squeezing in extra patient appointments to get them in before the insurance deadlines, frazzled with all the additional calendar events, rushing to breakfast with Santa with crying kids in tow, and all the while feeling like you're just not doing enough. There's an easier way. Imagine cruising through the holidays with ease and effortlessness, and actually quieting the noise in your head to be present for those moments that mean so much, for the magic, for the precious moments that we miss when we're so frazzled doing everything all at once. Reflecting on the year with pride and gratitude and not beating yourself up. And all of this without having to compromise your production or recognizing your team or the magic for your family. Imagine starting the year feeling fueled and grateful. Join me for Easiest Holiday Season Ever. It's a virtual workshop. It's happening this Friday, November 22nd, so you can cruise into the holidays with this really great practice and perspective, so you can actually enjoy the holidays. It's November 22nd from 12 to 2 Eastern Standard Time, and it's only for high-achieving women in dentistry. Go to www.easiestholiday.com and let this be the holiday you actually love. That hyper independence, like I should be able to do this. So how did leaning in, I have a feeling that's been your superpower all along, but how did leaning in then allow you to entertain even starting this other business? I know you had this moment of clarity where you're like, oh my God, every practice owner should know this and have this in their hands. But there was a time where you had to make a decision about starting a whole nother business that you knew nothing about, and this is a completely different world from running a dental practice. So talk to me about that moment of decision and what you had to lean into to get you to the next step.
So honestly, Practice by Numbers has been around since 2015 is when my husband and I officially created Practice by Numbers. But I was still very busy with my own dental practice. And I have two of them. And I've been very busy working, managing the whole works of being in dentistry and being a dental dentist. And I love clinical practice, and I couldn't, Practice by Numbers is growing on its own slowly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to continue doing my dentistry because I love clinical practice. In 2020, we pivoted. We started with just business analytics because that's where I thought the need was the most. And then COVID comes and changed all our world upside down, right? And that's when we realized that we all had staffing issues. We need to find a solution where things are automated, right? where I don't have to rely so much on staff that I can't find. And I
Mm.
can still keep going with my dentistry. And that's when my husband said, okay, we're going to add more features to the platform. We already had the business analytics part of it. Now we started the automation part. And that's when he said, okay, we're going to double down and build. And we built to add in online forms,
Mm.
online booking, online review generation, click to pay or text to pay. When I turned that feature on, Taryn,
Oh, I can only imagine.
oh my God, I have to tell you this story.
Please, please.
This happened, I think it was 20, because I'm the test office, right, for all the things that we built. This was, I can't remember now, early 21 or late 21. I can't remember exactly. But it was late at night. I think it was like 10 o'clock at night. And my husband has said, the feature's ready. Do you want to go live? Should I go live? Put it on in your office? I'm like, it's 10 o'clock at night. What if something happens? He's like, well, we'll turn it off. We'll see. And I said, okay, fine, turn it on. By 11:30 of that same night, this is the text to pay feature, I had collected over 3 grand of
Wow.
uncollected money that I hadn't been able to collect in 2 years,
Wow.
just sitting at home. My bank, you can see the deposits come in. I was like, this is like magic.
Wow. Wow.
It was so amazing. I felt such a sense of relief because, it's hard for us to go chasing for payments. You know that. I know that. And this was really amazing. And
Wow, it's such a big headache for so many practice owners because not only is it about paying them hourly to sit and go after all these people, but finding them in the system is always a challenge. And then when you finally realize, okay, this is too much of a headache, I'm going to pay another agency, a third party to do it, it's so expensive and you lose a portion of the percentage that you receive. And so I can only imagine the excitement that you had, not just for your practice, but for every person who was using this software
yeah,
in their practices.
yeah, it was just so amazing. And that's, it was like an adrenaline shot,
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure.
And, when I saw that, tangible results, I was like, okay, we can't stop.
Mm,
That's when my husband and I said, okay, I'm all in.
mm,
What do you want me to do? What can I do? It honestly took me that long, even though I knew what we have is so amazing and it's
mm.
making such an impact in a dentist's life, to truly give in, right? It took me that long to say, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. Well, you really have the sweet spot, Aditi, because what most practice management software companies don't have is a practicing dentist who knows the needs of her practice currently and can say, this is what's going on in my practice, and then value the impact that it has. Just that one little change. I mean, I'm sure anybody who's listening who's experiencing this right now can imagine it goes so much further than just the bottom line in your bank account. It goes to the freedom of space in your head and that worry about what is happening in this black box of my business practice that I don't know about, or always that kind of quiet undertone that exists in dentistry of could someone be stealing from me, or do I fully trust all of my team members, and not knowing, not always having your finger on the pulse of everything in your practice robs us of sleep at night.
Yep, absolutely. And this made it easy,
Yeah. Yeah.
made it easy for me to keep tabs on the practice. And also, it made it easy for me to empower my team members.
Mm.
Because now that I know what's going on,
Yeah.
I can delegate, right? And say, okay, my front office person, you take care of this. And now their bonuses are tied directly to the work that they produce. So
Wow.
now it is individualized, right? Every job is now individualized. Every reward is individualized. This has motivated my team.
Mm.
Each person has their own sort of piece that they're responsible for. And when they meet, exceed expectations, they get rewarded. And it's been amazing.
Wow. And what's so nice is it's so clear, right? It's clarity for them. Those key performance indicators have great clarity because it's just numbers and they can be very clear on how to access them and how to improve them. And it takes another layer of stress and weight off of you in terms of how do I assess my team and how do I have real reflection of their worth and give them honest, because I think so often we've all been in that boat where you give someone a bonus because you think they deserve it, it feels right, or it's been that many years and you really quote unquote should, but it doesn't have strong evidence support without knowing the numbers.
It's true. And, prior to practice by numbers, I used to, bonus them based on production versus collection. If you do production, then the front office team's not happy. If you do
Right.
collection, then the back office team's not happy. It's like I could never make anybody happy.
Yeah.
They would always be like, it's their fault.
Right.
And so this way, now nobody's pointing fingers at anybody. And so it has definitely worked in my practice. It has
Mm.
grown my practice. It is attracting staff that are long term, that want to stay, that are motivated, because they're motivated by their own growth. Everybody wants to have some kind of skin in the game,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
This enables them to that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Oh, I'm so excited for anybody who can have an opportunity to experience practice by numbers. So, we'll definitely make sure we put the link to your resources in the show notes. But if somebody's listening to this and they're thinking, I wonder if this is for me. I don't even know how this would fit in my practice. Maybe my practice management software already does this and this would be redundant. How could they learn more about whether or not practice by numbers would be a good fit for their practice?
Well, the best way to learn is from our website because we really do a lot of things. And the website is www.practicenumbers.com. So that again, www.practicenumbers.com. If you want to reach out to me, I'm always available via email. My that is Aditi.Agarwal at practicenumbers.com if you have any questions. Of course, I'm on social media, so you can find me there. But, click the link to demo if you want to demo the product or just do some research. Look at the website, look at all the things we offer. And, we're the only Karen truly dentist owned and operated software company out there. So
I
we
believe
know
it.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because you got me, who's in the chair still 2 days a week, but we test everything. I see you, I hear you, I know you.
And it's also this coming from this place of community support that we were talking about at the beginning is we don't have to do this alone. We don't have to do this alone. And what I love about what you're doing is it's a woman owned business, woman founded, and really the knowing what women need as practice owners, just to take this stress and overwhelm out of our own heads so that we can be more present and then do other big things like start our own businesses on the side, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We can do it. It's about prioritizing, it's about leaning in, getting the help you need. Technology was not my strong suit. So I leaned in and figured out how to use technology to better my practice. And it has not only enabled me, it has enabled my team. It has brought, bought me back time from my family.
yeah,
It's bought me back time on the chair side to be able to take better care of my patients.
yeah.
It has enabled my team to bring back time from their busy work so they're not busy scanning things and losing things.
Yeah.
And, being able to communicate and talk to the patients, give them more time so that they're not running around helter skelter because there's a lot of things that have been automated now,
Yeah.
including
Beautiful.
insurance verification,
Mm.
right? So bring back gifting, giving the gift of time
Mm.
to any mom or woman is the biggest blessing, honestly, we could achieve.
It really is. It really is. So, before I ask you my final question, I'd love to know, what is the challenge that you're working on right now? What is the new challenge that needs innovation?
We're constantly innovating, and my husband and I are these little energizer bunnies. I think we love what we do and we do what we love, right?
Mhm.
And I have loved dentistry, oh my God, since a child when I was
Mm.
in the dental chair at 11 years of age, right? And I don't think this love affair is ever going to end. So I might as well lean into it. There's so many things in dentistry that we still need to organize and reorganize. We have a lot of fragmented systems, that we use to run our day to day. And my goal is truly to form one unit, something, one login, eventually, hopefully, with good partners, because we can't do this road alone, right? I think I've said that again and again. And to build a truly robust system that the dentist will only need one login to be able to manage their office.
Mm.
And there's so much coming. We just introduced phones. So we have hardware now and point of sale. I know it's been wonderful. We're working on Call AI that should be coming out soon.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of things on the pipeline because, like I said, I truly know what we need. And we're trying to slowly, with partners, with friends, and through our own innovation, really put everything together so that we can make it a seamless process for our patients.
Yeah. And for ourselves, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing this. I'm so excited for everyone to know about Practice by Numbers. And I just have so much fun chatting with you. This has been such a gift to me today. Thank you. And I'd love to know, because I ask this of everybody who I interview, Aditi, what is your definition of happiness?
Giving back.
Beautiful. Tell me more.
I I think my language of love
Hmm.
is being able to care for others.
And that fuels you.
That fills me up.
Mm.
It makes me so happy. I was one of, as when COVID hit, right? Seattle, that's where I'm based. Washington State was one of the first cases
Ah, yeah.
to announce in the country. We were the first to shut down. We were the first to give the COVID vaccinations. And
Mm.
I was on that team that gave the first set of COVID vaccinations to our larger community.
Wow.
And that fills my heart. I did it over and over again. This was in 2021 once the vaccines came out. And I love giving back because service is what fills me. And I am truly called, and I love it because I'm in this profession where I can serve my patients. And now I can serve my peers.
Yeah.
And what more can I ask?
Oh, that's beautiful. Ah, thank you for all that you do, my friend. Thank you for being you. Thank you for taking on these great, beautiful challenges and for leaning in.
Absolutely. Thank you, Taryn.
Thank you to all of you for listening today. I told you she's amazing. I told you. I know you're getting my point now. So be sure to check out Practice by Numbers. Like I said, we'll leave a link in the show notes, but you can find it at practicenumbers.com. And remember to also lean into taking care of yourself, because when you feel good, that is when you can do good. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to the Business of Happiness podcast. If this episode brought you new perspective and value, I invite you to subscribe so that you catch all upcoming episodes and leave us a review. And if you know of a friend or colleague who could benefit from this perspective, share this episode with them and empower their day. For more information about the Business of Happiness and the Radical Happiness for Practitioners course, find me on www.thebizofhappiness.com. See you there.